Okay, so hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar on Accuro AI Scribe. My name is Derek. I am the training solution designer on the training team here at QHR. I've been with QHR for a little over the last 5 years and I've been on the training team for the last 4 years. I'd like to just point out a few items for our live event today. As always, our team is ready to answer your questions, so be sure to use the Q&A button at the top of your screen. When you click on that, you'll see the question and answers pane open on the right side of your window. You can click Ask a Question to submit any questions that you might have. You can click on New Post to see any newly posted questions and responses. If you have asked a question, once it has been answered by the team, you can see show one comment under the question. You can click on that to open the conversation and see the reply. So please enjoy today's event. Although it is live, the presentation is being recorded and will be available in our Accuro resources page should you need to go back and rewatch this, or if you'd like to share this with one of your colleagues who is unable to attend today. So today's agenda, we're going to walk through two parts of this. So the first part is the self-serve management for system admins to be able to set up Accuro AI Scribe within your clinic. And then we're going to talk about the quick start guide for providers. So if they're brand new to using AI Scribe, we're going to go through a quick start guide so they can begin using this and get ready for their first video with their patients, or their first visit with their patients. So the first little bit is there is a few steps to it. So the setup and management of requests. So I'm just going to talk about that a little bit more. So the self-serve setup is set up so you don't have to call into Accuro. You can do everything yourself. So step one, the system administrators can enable the module directly in Accuro Admin Center. So this will turn on the module. There's no cost at this point. It's just enabling the modules for all providers to see. Then the providers will see the AI Scribe widget in an encounter node. So for step two, the providers can link or create a Heidi account right in there. And that's going to request a subscription to AI Scribe. And then step three, our system administrators can manage those subscriptions back in AAC. So we're going to go over this all step by step, and then we're going to do the quick start guide. So just a little bit about Accuro AI Scribe. So what is it? So this is a way of transcribing your entire visit with your patients. So I'm just going to open up a note that I created yesterday. And on the left-hand side, we have the Accuro AI Scribe widget. And for this to work, you need to have a microphone that can hear both sides of the conversation. So you'd set up your microphone, it can hear you as well as your patient. And it's going to take that visit and record the entire thing and make a transcript of your visit. So here under transcript, you'll see this is the entire back and forth with the patient. And then using a Heidi template, it's going to generate a note and only keep relevant information and generate a note for you. From here, you can then paste it into your Accuro note. Wherever the cursor is, you can push that note and then save it to the patient's chart and save it. You can also use the context tab to add any additional information, as well as add any chart items. So this is really powerful with the integration, is you can actually add past clinical notes, any lab results, prescriptions, and add that to your note, and it'll keep that as context. You can even generate a note just on the context to do pre-charting. Also, a really big benefit is that you can make multiple notes from the one transcript. So I can, from that one transcript, create a second Accuro note and just generate a referral letter or a patient explainer. So that is what Accuro AI Scribe is. So let's start with the beginning. How do we enable this for your clinic? So I do have a video from our uh, product manager, Ryan, who unfortunately is not available today. So I do have a video. I'm going to play this live, and then I'll get back to the live demonstration, okay? How to enable for your clinic.
Hello, my name is Ryan. I'm a product manager for Accuro and for Accuro Admin Center. And I would like to take some time today to go over the exciting new integration that we have with Heidi and Accuro AI Scribe. I'm going to walk through just how to set this up for your clinic as an Accuro administrator and walk through the steps to do that. So first you'll see a Get Started button here at the top of Accuro Admin Center. So if you are an administrator or system administrator in Accuro, you should have access to Accuro Admin Center. If you haven't already given it a try, you can log in to accuroadmin.cloud with your Accuro OneID credentials and get access to Accuro Admin Center. When you do, you'll land right here, and you'll have a couple options, either the Click Get Started button or the new AI Scribe option on the left. And here you'll see a list of information and some details about Accuro AI Scribe. This is an exciting new way to request and set up integration for your database. Everything is self-serve, so there's no longer a need to request something like this through your PC or calling in or emailing to customer service. All you'll need to do is go through the steps here. We'll get started. So I will say that there is no cost or no charge for enabling the integration. This is essentially, you set it up so that all the providers in your database will be able to see the integration, and they can get set up with a 2-week free trial. That 2-week free trial has no commitment. After that expires, there's no charge or anything. All approvals and subscriptions that you want to purchase have to be approved by an administrator through Accuro Admin Center. So with that all being said, let's just quickly show you what you need to do. So the first step here is the setting up notifications. So it'll automatically put who is currently logged in as one of the administrators to get notified when this gets set up. You can then search for other administrators in your clinic and add their names to be notified. This will send those setup emails to the selected individuals once things have been set up. And then additionally, when any requests for subscriptions come through or usage comes through from a provider, you'll get notified as an administrator if you've been set up with an email. So we'll just set this up as just myself. Here is Sam Square. You'll see here that there is a new addendum acknowledgement and signature. This is here to accept the new terms for the AI service agreement. It's an addendum to existing service agreement that you have already set up with Accuro. Just clicking check or checking the box here will accept this this agreement, and it'll ask for you to either type or draw a signature. Here I'll just type my name. Let's say it's Sam Square in this case. So you'll see Sam Square pop up. You can also draw it if that's your preference. Once you click enter your name, you just hit adopt signature. You'll see that this has been set up. And then lastly here, this is the administrative agreement. I do encourage everyone just to give this a quick read through, but essentially this summarizes that you're giving authority to set up AI assisted AI assisted features and to allow the integration for the new Accuro AI Scribe within your clinic. So by going through here, I'm just going to acknowledge these terms. And after a few short seconds, this will come through. Now you'll see that the integration is in progress. So what this means is this is currently being set up. And here it takes about 1 to 2 business days. Typically, what will happen is by the next morning, if you're doing this anytime during the day, the next morning this will be ready and enabled for you to use for your clinic. You also have an option to download the signed addendum to your computer at this point. That'll give you a record for yourself if you wanted to review it later. There's also some information about how to set up Accuro AI Scribe through the user guide and see some pricing details. That is as simple as it is from the Accuro Admin Center side of setting up Accuro AI Scribe. And I'll just pass it off to Derek, who can take it from here and show you what it looks like after this has been fully set up, both from the Admin Center side and from the Accuro side. Thank you.
Okay, so that was a video from Ryan. So I'm going to go to our admin center. Oh, I'm not logged in. Just 1 second here. So now that it has been enabled, if we go back to our admin center, it will look a little bit different in our AI Scribe tab. So you'll see here we do have the status set to enabled, and we can change or modify the email notifications here as well. So Ryan mentioned you can add additional administrators. So you can click change here, search for an admin and add them and save these changes. These notifications, the administrator will get an email letting them know of any pending subscription that comes in from the provider. And if you need any assistance whatsoever, we do have resources and links right to our, to our resources page. From here, if you need any help, you can scroll down and we have step-by-step, how to do all of this stuff within AAC and within Accuro, depending on the provider or the system administrator. If you do need any assistance whatsoever, please, any assistance with the AAC or troubleshooting, you can give a call to our client services team. So now this is step 1. So it has been enabled for the entire clinic. So now step 2, it's on to the providers to request a subscription. So we're going to go to Accuro, and you can set up a test patient, whoever you'd like to load, and you're going to open up an encounter note. And so now all providers are going to be able to see the Accuro AI Scribe widget on their Flex panel in an encounter note. If you don't see this, it might be because you have it collapsed, so you can always expand and see the AI Scribe. Now, if any other user wants to use this, they do need to have their own unique subscription, and this feature can be toggled on or off by a system administrator. So you can go to Manage Securities, Feature Access, and by role or by user, a system admin can scroll down to the EMR section, and right at the top we have the Accuro AI Scribe. So if they do not see it and they'd like to, you can give them the check mark, or if they don't want to see it, you can turn it off for them. Okay, so the provider needs to, or has a couple options here. If they are interested in Heidi, there's 2 possible situations here. One where a provider already has a Heidi plan, so they're paying Heidi and they're using Heidi, just not the integrated version within Accuro. So existing Heidi subscriptions will work with the Accuro integration. However, if you want to transition to an Accuro subscription, we just recommend that you contact your practice consultant, as there may be a few steps that need to be done prior, depending on the types of plan that you have with Heidi. Because Heidi has a bunch of different plans, and it could be you may need to do specific things. Today, though, I'm going to talk about a brand new account. So you're brand new to Heidi, you've never used it before. So it describes everything on the page, and we're going to click Continue to create a Heidi account. So it opens up our widget here, and we're going to continue in a new window. So here we can sign in. So if I had an existing Heidi account, I can enter in my email here. But in this case, I'm making a new one. So I'm going to just paste my email. So this can be a specific, your like personal email, whatever you would like. So this is going to be the email, your login credentials to Heidi, and it's going to link your Heidi account to Accuro. So all of your templates is going to be saved in your Heidi account. So right here, if I already had an account, I could log in as well. If I hit continue here, it's going to send a one-time code to verify my email. So you would go to your email address that you entered in there, and you'd find a one-time code and enter that here. And then continue. Then it's going to ask you to create a password for your Heidi account. This is a one-time thing. There we go. And it has to have 8 characters. And then here we need to complete your profile. So a provider can choose their specialty. This is going to choose, it'll help with words recognition depending on your specialty. I'm just going to put a general practitioner here. And then you'd have to select your country. So everyone here would choose Canada just because this is a database. I need to choose Australia, but for you, you would choose the country as Canada. And you need to read and agree to the terms and conditions. And then it is verified. Now it is linking to Accuro. We'll continue again. We're just following the steps. We'll close the window. And then we do have some documentation. I recommend that you read through this and acknowledge and accept the terms and conditions. And then we will continue. So this is a success. So as a brand new user to Heidi, I've never used it before, I get a free 2-week trial. So I can take some time and start using this to see if it is appropriate and I like using this. And then I can talk to my system administrator who can then manage that subscription and approve it in AAC. Again, if you have any questions about this, we have links to all of our resources page. I'm going to click Start Using Now, and it's going to load our scribe and just let me know when my trial is ending. So that's all of step 2. The provider linking their Heidi account or creating a new one and linking it to Accuro. So step 3, we're back into the AAC. If I reload this as an administrator, I'll just click go back to Accuro Scribe. You'll see now under subscription requests, I do have a subscription for Dr. Sam Square. Here it shows the username, the current plan, when my 2-week free trial ends, and then when I requested it. Below here, it shows all of active subscriptions, and then at the bottom, an activity log for any canceled subscriptions. So as a system administrator, I can approve or deny this request. So let's go through the deny request first. If I click deny, this is going to open up a page where I have some information at the top, and I can add a deny request if I would like. This could, why it was denied. Maybe you have multiple system administrators. You can give reasons to them why this was denied and click deny. You don't need to. This is optional. If we go back and this time we choose approve, again, we have a little bit of information at the top. And here, the system administrator is able to choose the subscription details. Right now, we choose the plan. Right now, we only have the AI Scribe Plus, but the system administrator can choose a billing account. So if you have a billing ID set up, you can select which one you would like that to go to, and then it has a summary at the bottom. So approving the request right now, this starts the billing cycle. The enablement and the provider requesting something, there's no commitment whatsoever. There's no charge for any of that. It's only when we approve the request here that the billing cycle begins. Now it just takes a quick moment, and the subscription has been approved. So right from the management screen, you can come back to this at any time, and there is a cancel subscription at the very bottom here. If we go back to the main page for AI Scribe, you'll notice that our request box is empty, but we do have an active subscription for Dr. Sam Square. Tells me the plan, the active, which billing account it might be, and then when the next billing date is. If a provider was denied and they did change their mind, you can come back in here. Maybe a month later they decided, no, I actually do want to try this. In the denied section, you can approve a denied request. Under the manage subscription, we saw this already, but here, if necessary, you can cancel the subscription. So if we need to change plans or any billing, we can cancel the subscription at any time. It does note here that a minimum of 1 month term, so you will be charged for a minimum of one, but then after that, as soon as you hit cancel, it will no longer auto-renew. So that is the entirety of the self-serve enabling the module, the provider requesting, and then the system administrator managing those requests. So now I'm going to talk about how a provider uses Heidi, the Heidi AI Scribe with Heidi. So I'm going to go into Accuro here. And so I have a 2-week free trial. So let's get using this. To access it, again, I would use a test patient, and I would just open up a blank note. We have our AI Scribe loading on the right-hand side. Now, to get started, we do recommend setting aside at least 30 minutes of your time, okay? Because you do need to set up Heidi templates. Those are different than the Accuro templates, okay? So right in the Heidi widget here, if I click the drop down, this is going to show me all of my Heidi templates. And this is what it takes that transcript and turns it into a letter using these Heidi templates. So we need to create a template. Now, we cannot create or edit templates directly in the Accuro integration. So we have to go to the Heidi website to do that. You can go to HeidiHealth.com, or you can click the Heidi icon in the top of your widget here. This will open up the Heidi website. Now, when you click this, you will need to put in your Heidi credentials. Now, I did that already, so it's just automatically has signed me in. Make this a little bigger for you to see. So the Heidi website, you can use this. So by paying through the Accuro integration, you have access to the Heidi website. And then you can do almost the exact same thing within here. So you can generate notes, you can edit them, you can make templates. The only difference is if you were using the website, you would need to copy it from here, go into Accuro, and then paste it to actually save it to the patient's chart. But you do have access to this. So I mentioned we need to create a template. So this is a quick start guide. Depending on your specialty, this may take a little bit longer, but there are plenty of pre-made templates for you, and I'll show you a quick way of making one as well. So first and foremost, there is a community. So if we click on the left-hand side, community and template, these are pre-made templates made by different specialists from all around the world. And you can click on these, take a look at what the template looks like, and if that suits your need, you can save it under your templates and begin using it. Your templates live under My Library, under My Templates. And here you'll see a list of all of your templates. If I go to the second page, you'll notice that there's a bunch of templates from the creator of Heidi. So depending on the specialty that you chose, Heidi will create a bunch of generic templates, and this may be good enough for you. So as a general practitioner, you can take a look at the pre-made templates that Heidi has provided you. And if that suits your need, then you don't need to create anything, and you can just use those templates that Heidi created. Now, I'm going to go through a really quick way of making a template, creating a template, but making it look and sound like the notes that you're typically making in Accuro. So up at the top, if I click Create Template, it's going to ask Note or Document or fill a PDF form. Unfortunately, the PDF form does not work with the integration, so we're going to choose Note or Document. You'll see here we can upload an example. We can just start freely typing and tell Heidi what we want to create. And it's going to create a reusable template that writes and sounds like us. So you can freely type in here, but we find that the fastest and best way of creating a template is actually going back into Accuro and finding a note that you like that you're using it all the time. So not a note template, but an actual finished note. So I'm going to open this up and find the note. And just so I can show you here, you can only have the AI Scribe open in one window at a time. But if I wanted to activate it here, I can click there. So this is my finished note that I like, and it has all of the information that I would use. I'm going to take this and copy all of the text, go back into Heidi, and I'm going to paste it into this little box of what I want to create. Before I create this template, though, I want to just make sure I remove any patient information. So I'm just going to remove the name and just put patient full name, or you could put things like Jane Doe. And then I'm going to just change the date of birth just so it's not any patient information, double check everything, and then create my template. So Heidi is thinking right now and creating an example of what my template will look like. At the bottom here, there is a wonderful way of editing your templates. So you can, it says here, what would you like to change? When you see the example, you can edit it yourself, word for word, or you can actually describe to Heidi what you want to change in your template. Maybe you want only the patient's last name or provide more detail. You can just type that in here and it'll create an example for you. So here is an example of our template. And this is almost an exact copy of what I pasted in here. And I may want to do some editing. Maybe I want these sections bolded, for example. And then I can say, okay, well, this looks good. This is what I want to use. You'll notice at the top there is this structure button. So this is the exact syntax. This is like in coding terms, this is like how it is generating the note. There's a lot of information in this structure. And if you want to get into advanced template building, you would use this structure tab. However, for just using it, I would recommend not using this structure and just going to what you would like to change. Now, Heidi is the experts in their templates. So if you ever need help and you want to build your templates, if you go to the help section in the bottom left, you can get support. So I don't believe they have a phone number, but you can message them to get support. But I wanted to bring your attention to the help center. In here, they have videos and guides, how to build templates, intermediate, and then an advanced guide if you're building a template right from scratch. Okay. So let's go back to the example, and we can give this a name up at the top. I'm going to just say that we are testing Heidi as the title of our template here. And if we're ready and we like to use this, we're going to save this. Now, before we go back to Accuro to use this template, I recommend that we test it in Heidi before we go to Accuro. And this is because we can't edit our templates within the Accuro integration. We can only edit within the website. So we might as well do that all right now. If we go to the first page, you're going to see here, this is that new template we just created. It tells when it was edited, who the creator was, and we do have some buttons on the side, so we can add it to our favorites. We can queue this in all sessions, so this just is available in Accuro. We can share this with the entire community. Under Actions, we can edit this template, duplicate it to get a different name, delete it if it was made in error, etc. So what we're going to do is test this out in our Heidi website. So to do that, I'm going to click New Session at the top. We're going to add a patient identifier. So here you can just create a patient. I'm just going to use our auto octagon. And then at the top, you're going to see our microphone, and it has our green, meaning that it's available. And we can click the drop down to choose different microphones if we would like. When we are ready, we can click transcribe, and it's going to start our visit with our fake patient. So in this case, it's going to be like a little bit of a role play with the provider. So you're going to just talk normally and have a fake conversation playing both as a provider and as the patient, and just talk. And when you're done, you can click end, and it'll generate a note. We do have the context tab here as well, just like in Accuro. And I can just add additional information. So I'm not going to bore you with an actual transcription word for word. I actually just did this earlier and have it in text form. So I'm just adding this to the context, and I'm going to just create a note from my template. So when I click create, I'm going to choose the template I just created, testing Heidi, and it is analyzing the transcript, or in this case, just the context, and it's going to be creating a note based off of that. So here we have, based off of what I wrote, this is what it would look like. Maybe it works for me, and I like how it looks. And if that's the case, wonderful. If it's not exactly how you would like, you can do some simple editing right from here with the little pencil where it says Goldilocks. Here you can customize your style. So here this was a fast, perhaps I want, or best. So this is for complex sections. It's going to add more details. As well as there's a voice. So underneath, or Goldilocks for them is considered the middle ground, but you can choose brief, like I want things in point form. Maybe you want things detailed, or maybe even super detailed, where it's going to add like full paragraphs, etc. So if I was to change this and click away, it's going to regenerate that transcript based off of my very basic editing just for this note. If this looks exactly how you would like, then we're ready to use this in Accuro. Before we go to Accuro, though, I would like to go over a couple of settings within our Heidi website. So under the Scribe section, this is going to just show all of my past and upcoming appointments. If by any reason you need to delete a scribe, you can click the little button beside the name of it, and at the bottom you can delete selected if necessary. For settings, we'll just either you can click on your name and go to settings, or there's a settings button here. So I wanted to go over display control. When you click transcribe, either in Accuro or in the website, you will get a pop-up asking, did you get consent from the patient? If you would like to turn that off, at any time you can toggle this to turn off the pop-up. Under data management, all of your sessions within Heidi are saved in Heidi as indefinitely. So we do recommend that you do set an automatically delete session. So you can toggle this on and choose to delete sessions on a reoccurring basis. So maybe I want to only keep them for 7 days. You can choose between 1 and 90, but I'm just going to change this to 7. And that way, none of these sessions are living in the interweb forever. It's staying in my Accuro. It's going to be saved in Accuro, but it's only staying with Heidi for 7 days. And then if we go to defaults, this is where you can set those session that I talked about with the little pencil. So if you like using best every single time, you can choose that here. You can also set a default template. So automatically, I want to use that testing Heidi every single time. You can set that as a default. And you can set your default voice here as well. So any of these settings will apply to your Accuro integration as well. Okay, so if we're ready and we have our templates, again, depending on your specialty, you may want multiple templates like a referral letter, etc. So you would work on those in here, and then when you're ready, we can exit out of here and actually do a visit within Accuro. Okay, so we're going to do a patient visit within Accuro. Again, I recommend starting with a blank note when you're using Heidi. You can use an Accuro template if you would like, but Heidi is going to do almost all of that work for you. So it's best to start with an Accuro note, and you can always modify that later if you would like. So I'm just going to make this bigger so everyone can see. And when we're ready for our patient visit. So things look very similar as they did in the Heidi website. Up at the top, you do have your microphone, and it's showing green, which means that it is active and it can read. I can click the drop down to choose a different microphone if I would like. I can X out of there. You'll notice that the name of the patient is auto-populated by our globally selected patient. So we have the name, sex, and date of birth. On the side here, we do have some settings, so you can change the date and time, as well as input and output languages. So if you can choose up to 3. 1 second, please. Okay, sorry about that. So you can select input languages up to 3 languages, as well as output languages. Now just remember that you do have to review your note afterwards. So if you're not proficient in these languages, you may not know if it transcribed it exactly right, just as a note. We do have a create, so you can create a note based only on context, and you can just start your visit. Speaking of context, if we go here, so this is a way of adding context before our visit, or you could also add this afterwards. So you can freely type here if you would like. Anything that was not talked about with the patient in the room. So you can add that information. At the bottom, you can word for word dictate wherever the cursor is. Probably one of the most powerful things, though, is that you can add any chart items. So if I click here, I can add up to 100 items from the chart. So this could be past clinical notes. I want this note to know everything about this patient. I want it to have the lab results. So I can right click on the heading and select all labs, or perhaps even previous prescriptions that this patient has. And I can click OK. So this is going to be adding all of these chart items into the context tab. Some specialists use this as a pre-charting method prior to their appointment. They come in here early, they add all of this information, and then they create a note only from the context. So there's no transcription yet. We're just going to create a note. Again, so I could use that testing Heidi template. Maybe I have one specifically for just for pre-charting. So if I click testing Heidi, it's going to be generating a note solely based off of the context that I just added there. If you ever need help at any time, right within here, we do have sections where, I need help with Accuro AI Scribe, and you can click this and it will open up our resources page directly to our onboarding hub where you can get commonly asked questions, step-by-step, how to work this, okay? So back to our note. This is just taking our template and it created a note all on the context. And we can do this, again, like I said, prior to our patient showing up for their visit. Up at the top, you do have this little magic wand, and this is to create a second document based off of the context, if you would like, from another template. When the patient arrives, we're going to start the visit. So if we click here, we're going to get that pop-up patient consent that I mentioned earlier. So you'll see here, I have patient consent. You can always, Heidi does have consent forms, I believe. You can download them from their website. However you would like to get consent, that's completely up to you. And I have patient consent. And so right now we are transcribing. So it's recording everything within the room. So if you would like to continue using Accuro while this is open, you do have to keep your encounter note open. So if I try to X out of here, it's going to say a little bit of a warning that you do need to either pause or stop the recording before continuing. So you want to keep this open, but we can minimize it. And so we can go about our day in Accuro, taking a look at whatever it may be, and it's recording our entire visit in the background. At any time, if you're interrupted, you can pause the session and then resume it. And then when it's completed, I can hit end session. You can resume it if you did click stop at any time. So right now, the AI Scribe is generating and just taking that transcript and it's adding all of that information into our note. Now you'll notice that there is no change to our note because what we were talking about is not relevant to anything with this patient visit according to our Heidi template. So this is the transcript of me talking, explaining things to you, and this is our note. So it says at the bottom here, review your note before to ensure accuracy and represents our visit. So to edit this, you can place a cursor and freely type anywhere you would like. At the bottom, you do have the option, ask Heidi to do anything. So if you've ever used, Hey Google, Siri, etc., you can ask Heidi to do something for you. So perhaps you're looking for a more professional sounding, or maybe you're making a patient explainer letter and you say, can you make this more personal and a lighter tone? You can just ask Heidi to do that and it'll regenerate this with your instructions. You can undo, redo, copy and copy. If by accident you deleted an entire section of your note, you can always at any time regenerate the note, and that will get rid of any of the edits and regenerate the note from scratch. Wherever the cursor is, you can click dictate and you can word for word dictate directly in your Heidi template here, or your note, I should say. Once it is done and we are happy with it, we need to save it into Accuro. So to do that, we're going to place our cursor anywhere in our note, and we're going to push the note. So it'll push everything in the box on the right into the note on the left-hand side. Again, you can edit and add information here if you would like. So if perhaps we wanted to also include our medical history, we can drop and drag that information into our note. Oh, does work, I promise. There we go. And then when it's done, we can then save it to the patient's chart. And now it is saved forever. We don't have to worry about that 7-day deletion with the data management within the Accuro Scribe. Okay. Now, another really powerful thing with the Accuro AI Scribe is that you can generate multiple notes from that same transcript. So at the bottom here, beside push note, there's a little down arrow, and I can create a new Accuro note. This will bring up your Accuro templates, and you can choose, again, I'm going to just choose a blank note. We can give it a specific name and hit OK. And this is just loading up that scribe with all of that same transcript, and I can choose a new template. So I can just click the drop down or create a new document, and perhaps I needed to have a referral letter from this patient visit. So I could click on that, or perhaps I want a patient explainer letter, and this is just generating a note from that same transcript. We don't have to do multiples, and once it generates our note, I can make any edits necessary. So this is to the patient. Again, I can put it into the note, push it over, and then if this is for the patient, I can save it, print it off. If this is a referral letter, I can save it and then generate a letter and email it to the referring providers. So that is the quick start guide on how to use setting up your templates all the way to your patient first visit. So really quickly, I wanted to go over where you can find more information. So I'm going to go to our resources page. So everyone should be familiar with this. If not, you can go to accuroemr.com/support. And this has all the answers to everything you might ever need to know about Accuro. If we scroll down a little bit and we can go to our webinar series, we can see past webinars. So this webinar is going to be recorded. And if we scroll down, this is a list of all of our past webinars, and you'll find this in a couple days, and you can share that with your colleagues or rewatch this if you wanted to see a specific section again. I also wanted to note there is another client-facing webinar, Taking Back Your Time with Accuro AI Scribe. That's going to be on August 20th, so if you would like to, you can register here as well. Back on the resources page, we do have links directly to everything Accuro AI Scribe right here, which you've seen many times during this webinar. And I just wanted to highlight our training section as well here. Our training section. We do have a course all about Accuro AI Scribe in our Accuro Learning Academy. So this is free to all users. You can log in and do the course there if you would like to learn more. Here we also have links to any past webinars. And if you're interested in any expert-led training, you can request that here as well. So I just wanted to thank everyone for joining today. I hope that we answered all of your questions and that you learned something new. So that is the end of this, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you again.